Hey everybody, thanks for tuning. Man, what are you doing, bro?
Making sure my knees weren't ashy, man.
Hey, man, you need some lotion, man?
I think I'm solid. Solid knees. Check us out, man. We just had some fun. Check us out, man. AlwaysReadyOnline.com, Facebook, Instagram.
Go for it, man.
Go ahead, Coach Hall. What you got?
No, I don't got. I think that's all of it. We good? We good, baby.
All the podcasts. You know what I mean? Watch us, listen to us, follow us. Not literally.
Look, if you on YouTube though, man, hit the subscribe button. Man, it's week 13 and we got 13 subscribers. The only way this works is if you hit the subscribe button. And if you listening, just copy the link and just share it. Just share it to a friend. Stop being selfish. There we go.
Nice. All right, we got that out the way. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Guess what?
What's up?
COVID back, baby. It's back.
Now, see, last week we was talking about, how it was kind of dissipating.
Dang, dissipate.
You like that?
Can you spell it?
Not today.
Ooh, the pressure.
But it was kind of going away, you know what I mean? The fear was starting to lax a little bit. And now you saying it's back?
It's back, man. So it's a couple hot spots. 4,400 new cases in Arizona in the last 72 hours. That's a lot of cases.
That is a lot of cases.
But we have somebody.
What is going on?
We got somebody in our live audience right now that said the cases don't matter. Said what matters is, I don't know what he said matters. 4,400 is a lot of cases. That's all I know. And then Florida is crazy, and Texas is crazy.
So what is the significance of these warmer climates, you think?
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be interesting too, specifically for us here in Ohio. With all the protests, I think now is where you're about to start to see if that has anything to do with it. But I don't remember Arizona being like on the news for like protests and different things. I know they did have some looting and some stuff going on, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But you're talking about beaches and nice weather, people trying to get outside and do some different things. At least in Ohio, bro, it's gonna rain, every other day, so you don't really get in that routine.
Bikinis is out.
Come on, man.
Skin is showing.
Come on, man.
So
Sweat.
Can it skin to skin? Like if you just get it on your skin contact, or you just gotta
Yeah, I don't know. Like, was that like fruit, or I don't know? What did you eat? Like
inhale
fruit?
it or something? Like, is it?
I don't know, man.
Liquid molecules.
But they're not shutting the country down again. That's not gonna happen. I think now it's like
the country. Maybe not the country, but the states.
Certain states
might. You know what I mean? They might pull they.
But you got to. But here's the thing, though. Same thing holds true. Travel, right? If you come from Arizona, Florida, Texas,
dang,
right?
I was thinking about going to Florida too.
You see what I'm saying? Like all that stuff. I don't know, man. It's just interesting, man. We back open and running, but everything is different. You get your hair cut.
California still shut down.
Hey, Cali is still shut down.
Talked to my guy. He was like, man, he's like, Ohio, y'all back moving. In Cali, we still just on standstill. Standby.
I don't know, man. That's just.
I mean, I've been hearing though. I mean, we've been hearing for quite some time that it could be, could ramp back up the fall. It might, come back strong. And I mean, I think again, just kind of play it by ear. Stay cautious. Stay as safe as you can be.
You still wearing masks?
I am. I mean, I talked about it last week that, I'm a little bit more lenient. I'm still wearing it, but not as. All right, so here's the deal. Me and the family go out. Mm-hmm. All right. I got 3-year-old daughter. She's got a nice little pink, pretty mask. She put her mask on, put her glasses on. She look dope. Did. Wife got the mask. My son is only 5 months. Mm-hmm. He can't wear no mask.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, like if he ain't wearing no mask,
right?
I'm like, man, ain't no me in the family wearing. I mean,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if he gonna get it,
right.
He the main one I'm worried about, getting it. So
that makes sense.
I don't know. I kind of feel away. That's like in a car and you like everybody got your seatbelts on except your kid, and you like, well, if something, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna,
I understand. I don't know. It's tough for me though. I only because it was such a huge ordeal. Like, we shut down for like 2.5 months, and now we back open, and things are popping up again, and it's like, well, we just gonna ride this one out. It's not that big of a deal because we found that this and that. I just still get back to, 100,000 people dying or whatever. There's still a lot of people dying, bro. Like, in my opinion,
for sure.
You know what I mean? So people just got to stay cautious, man, like you said. But speaking of, though, with COVID and why this is important, because sports fall sports coming up. So you're talking football season, you're talking all of that. Now, they reported that several Dallas Cowboy players and Houston Texans players tested positive for COVID. And they said the majority of them you won't necessarily know, but somehow it got leaked. And then his agent came out and confirmed that Ezekiel Elliott, arguably the best running back in the NFL, tested positive for COVID. Now, they say he's fine. He's doing good. He's in shape, doing well. We talked about that. Like, if I get COVID, I'm in shape. I probably will be straight. But that's a big-time name for a big-time team. And they not even in training camp yet, right? That's just, they don't even know if they ain't did nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know how multiple of these guys, probably because they've been around each other and maybe I don't know what the NFL is doing right now, but they ain't even started yet. So
he might have been in Arizona.
He could have been. Or Florida or Texas. In Texas. You know what I mean? So if guys are testing positive already and they ain't even started being in close quarters, and John Harbaugh, the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, came out and was like, look, the NFL gave us all these things we got to do. He's like, it's like impossible. He's like, it's impossible to like social distance in the huddle. Right. Like they don't even want them to huddle, like being that close, like stay away from each other. Wow. So how do you practice? How do you play? How do you go in the film rooms? How do you come together as a team if you still got to practice social distancing? Because it's not just the players, it's everybody in the facilities, the chefs, the cooks, the ticket people, the office people, all those people coming and going. So, like, is it worth it? Like, to just, hey, man, we football players, let's go play, or we hooping or whatever we doing? Or, is it better to be safe than sorry?
I mean, again, I think, we're going to kind of see that in the NBA because it's about to happen right now, right? NFL I don't know what their timetable is to make a decision. They already announced NBA is coming, but we'll get to NBA in a second. NFL, I mean, I think it's still going to come down to, who can afford it. If you Ezekiel Elliott, you might be like, you know what, man, I'm about to chill.
Right.
I got paid. I got my bag.
I'm just good.
So I'm gonna take this one off. If you a cat that's like, yo, I need this year. This is my contract year. I'm a rookie. I'm trying to make the team. Like I done put my everything into coming to the NFL. I'm a rookie now, and now here's my shot. And now you telling me I gotta go sit down somewhere. So I think that's what it come down to. And those players that can afford it, they can go either way. Those players that can't afford it, probably, it's risk versus reward. You know what I mean? And I'm willing to risk it.
That's kind of tough, man. All right, so that's NFL level. What about college football? Same thing. And we talked about it before we kind of got on just a little bit about, even on the home front, Ohio State football players had to sign a waiver. Amongst many things, one of it said, like, if you get any symptoms or you feel funny at all, it's your responsibility to kind of report. Now, I don't know what the details of that waiver was. Like, hey, if you get it, you can't, like, come and sue us or whatever. I don't know if it went that deep because it is voluntary workouts. And you remember back in the day, voluntary meant mandatory, but it was voluntary. Right. It's voluntary, but don't miss.
Voluntold.
Right. Yeah. So it's now you're talking guys that's not making money. Ain't got no money on the table. They're still trying to make sure that this year is the year that they get to the NFL. Right. So if you're a guy that's trying to make it, is it worth it? Like, man, I'm straight, I'm good. And if you a parent, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to make this decision, for your son here in about 17 years or so. Would you allow him to play, given the circumstances? Would you be comfortable with your son going off and playing college football, playing football?
Well, I mean, at that age, he'll make decisions for himself. You know what I mean? He'd be 18 and older, so I give him as much information as I can. But I'll let him make that decision because I wouldn't be the one to try to, feel some level of regret and held him back or kept him from something. So he would make that decision on his own. But back to your point, as far as like, I'm just kind of putting myself in that position in those shoes, and like, would I, as a collegiate athlete, I feel like, especially if I was an upperclassman, I feel like I would probably risk it. Mm-hmm. As an NFL player, now granted, I was on the lowest of the lowest on the totem pole in my days in the NFL, but I would have to. I mean, it would either be you doing it or I'm going to go find another job. I mean, it really wouldn't be in between. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, if I'm one of the top tier players, then I might be like, you know what? Let me chill out. And again, NFL, we still got some time to see how things shake out. But the NBA right now, like, that's happening next month. You know what I mean?
So the NBA is different too, though, and it's funny how every sport is operating different. The NFL is slow walking it a little bit. Now they putting their stuff out, their schedules and all that stuff out like it's gonna be normal. They came out the NFL schedule, and that was a month and a half ago. But then baseball those players was like, nah, we're not taking that deal. They trying to give us 85% of what we supposed to make or whatever it is, and an abbreviated schedule. Like, nah, you told me you was gonna pay me $50 million this year. I want my 50. I'm not taking a prorated nothing. Like, y'all figure it out, and we'll come play for our. And so they arguing. They had a stalemate right now. Right. But the NBA is looking like, for the most part, they coming back, and they setting it up to where I think their season will start maybe the end of July, and pick up from there. So
But it's a modified situation, right? So they're only coming back with X amount of teams who, however they decided, there's probably like more playoff ready.
24 teams or something like
22,
that.
24 teams. And, they go through their little play. So here's my thing, all right? If you not one of the top teams, if you not one, like, okay, everybody got a shot, but I mean, come on, man. If you on that cusp team, you like, look, man, I ain't got no shot to beat the Lakers or beat the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I go and risk it? See, NFL again is different. Like, it's a brand new season, start from scratch. NBA, you basically going on, like, you know what I mean? Do I have a shot? And then check this out: if you the Lakers, right, and okay, you got a legit opportunity to win a title, or you one of the top teams that got an opportunity to win a title, does it even feel the same? Like, okay, what if you go out and win? Like,
right, like it doesn't really, it's like an it's almost like 2 seasons. Like, we had the season, then we went off, and then we did like a little, because anybody could win at any time. It's all about momentum. You know what I mean?
But do you even feel like, when you deserved it? Like, it's always going to be an asterisk next to that win.
That was the year that,
you know what I'm saying?
Y'all shut down for a year and a half. Because here's the thing, I heard, like, one of the guys from the Denver Nuggets, I don't know if what's his nickname, the Joker? Jokic? Anyway, he a beast, though. I mean, he played well. He's a good player. I just don't know him that well to know his name, but he's a good player statistically. They like, man, he lost like 40 pounds, body fat down. Like, bro, you've been down for like 2.5 months. Like, you can be out of shape, be in shape, you come back a totally different player now. Yeah.
And that's why they got to go through whole almost training camp again, you know what I mean, for them. But it's like, yo, do you go, all right, now you got to go back to that whole situation. You got to put everything, I mean, I guess you can't say putting on anything on hold because that's your career. But they go, from what I understand, family, you're going to be away from your family for the most part.
I think you might be able to bring maybe like your immediate.
But you're going to be you locked in for 8 weeks, 10 weeks at least. You know what I mean? Like, just in your own little
and everybody kind of together though, because they on a resort. They like, so you play for the other team, man. You cool, and you play for. I play for the Lakers. You play for the, I don't know. Let's see who's playing well in the West, but for the Rockets. Yeah. Like, we eating dinner together. It's just like a big vacation. I don't know, it's a little bit different. But like, relating it to, like, let's just say the common folk like us, like people going back to work. You know what I mean? Like, people got choices now where if you got furloughed or you got laid off or whatever happened, let's just say with people that got furloughed and they like talking about you coming back, like, do you go back to work when you don't have, like, you're like, man, I don't know about the conditions there. Do I want to make myself or put myself in harm's way if I'm working in, say, the restaurant business or the retail business? Like, how do I want to should I have to go back? Like, how do I know when to go back?
again, are you in that position?
Yeah.
Are you privileged enough to have that option? I mean, everybody got the option, but most choices are going to be a little harder than others. If you figuring out, okay, my rent is back due, my cars is back due now, either I go and put myself in this risky situation to handle this over here, or I gotta change up what I'm doing altogether.
And I think that's why you're big on preaching on just like going after what you want to do, like not necessarily being in that position. Like, man, like go start a business. You said that the very first week.
Yeah.
Go put yourself in position to where you don't have to make that decision. Not saying that you wouldn't have to, but wouldn't it be great if 3 months ago they listened to your advice and was like, I'm gonna start this business, I'm gonna figure it out. And over the last 3 months, they've kind of mastered their situation and they ain't got to go back to work. You know what I mean? Like they can sit at home and not have to worry about it. Because I think ultimately that's the situation that everybody wants to be in. Like I can make a decision, to your point. Like I can work right from my living room, and I don't have to go in if I don't need to.
And it's a new normal now. I mean, so many different opportunities to do that.
Oh my goodness.
I know a few people that have taken up, that advice and, started their business, and whether it's landscaping or crafts or, some sort of training, some sort of digital marketing. Like, I mean, it's things out there to do, and we've had enough time to at least get started on some ideas. Of course, 3 months, usually, 3 to 5 years for a business to see if it's going to succeed or not. But at least you can start to get some things in motion, especially if you've been planning and pinning some things out for a while. And so, even with us though, we facing some situations where it's like, dang, do we operate as we did before, or do we, look at changing up, how we've been moving around.
Yeah.
And so again, I think that's going to continue to be a big part of we're not out I wouldn't say we out the clear. When we talked about yells, it's things kind of calming down and people being less fearful. And again, kind of balancing this risk reward factor. By no means are we out the clear. All right. But we got to continue to make the best decisions for us though. But I think now these decisions we're starting to encompass other things. Initially it was just safety first, health and safety, like at all costs. But now it's, to your point, it's like, okay, now we got to start understanding our finances. Now we got to start understanding our relationships. Like our relationships starting to be severed or hindered because we've been isolated or we've been away from certain situations. And so now you got to start to factor all of that into your decisions, which definitely makes it a little more tough.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. The whole thing is crazy. So we mentioned the NBA though. The crazy thing about the NBA is the fact that not only are they dealing with the COVID piece, but now they're dealing with the social injustice, racial issues and tension, and a new, much needed explosion of a conversation and happenings around the world, really. And obviously that kind of was sparked with the George Floyd murder, but now you got NBA players about to go back to play basketball. Now the interesting part about the NBA is Steven Jackson is probably more like a street brother. I don't think it's his blood brother, but he came out and said, hey, as soon as it happened, he's like, man, they killed my brother. And he was like, people know us from the hood. They call us twins because we look alike, and they actually kind of favor a little bit. And he was immediately he was in the front, like, that's my brother. I'm going to Minneapolis. I'm going now. And he'd been on talk shows and TV shows and all that. Well, he's been leading the charge there. Well, now the NBA, they voted. They're going to come back the end of July. They got this plan together. Now, the players really haven't said too much until within the last 3 or 4 days. And a couple guys have said a couple things. One, Patrick Beverley, starting point guard for the LA Clippers, came out and was like, yo, if King James say we hooping, then we all hooping. It's like, I'm sorry, no hard feelings. It's just business. If he say we hooping, then we hooping. But then Dwight Howard came out and was like, yo, I don't think we should play because until all this social injustice piece and we using our platform to make a difference to this is kind of solved. Steven Jackson got on and did like a 90-second IG piece and was like, look, I love y'all. I played for 15 years. I know what it means. I know y'all got to make money. I know y'all got to do this, but this ain't the time to hoop. This ain't the time to play basketball at all. Y'all should not even be thinking about playing basketball. He's like, we a predominantly black sport. We got an opportunity to keep pushing the issue, and it's our responsibility to do that. And he's like, as soon as y'all start hooping, what's going to happen is y'all going to make the owners money. Y'all going to make these networks money. Everybody going to be making money. And the focus is going to be on the playoffs and what y'all doing and championships. And now all of a sudden the conversation is going to shift to y'all and what y'all doing in the NBA championship and sports being back. And this is the model we're going to use. And ain't nobody going to be talking about the social injustice. So he's like, look, this is where y'all can make a stance and actually do something for the cause. Y'all. And so before I toss it over to you, I said this probably, man, I remember saying this 3 or 4 years ago when Colin was like taking a knee and all that, and the conversation was generating in NFL. And I was like, all the players got to do is say, we ain't playing. And I remember thinking, though, the upper guys could probably be like, no, I'm straight. You know what I mean? But the lower guys would be like, no, I need that money. Right. And trying to figure out, like, if all the players said we're not going to play, the owners would be stuck. If they said we're not going to play unless you guys do X, Y, and Z. And obviously that didn't happen. Now, this is one of those opportunities where they can do it, where LeBron and all those guys can say, I don't want to play. Right. So Steven Jackson feels like we should be going full on board with pushing the issue, because if we don't, everybody it's going to turn on to
mixed reviews, mixed feelings, I should say, about it. And of course, everyone going to have an opinion one way or the other. And some people might be torn both ways. I see it as Steven Jackson is saying, because, you know, we talked about one of the things that we feel made this social injustice and the George Floyd thing so prevalent is just the fact that we were in COVID and quarantine and lockdown and nothing's on, you know what I mean? So we had no other option but to pay attention. And that sparked, you know, outrage and cries out. And of course, then, you know, attention and eyes started to become more open and aware of what's going on. I do feel, you know, as soon as sports, you know, come back, then, you know, those you know, acts and demonstrations and voices are going to start to simmer down some. But I also see it the other way too. Now, it would take a lot more effort, but as you mentioned, there's some players and some folks that can get it done. And LeBron and King James, I mean, he's one, and that circle of people could get this done. I heard, who was it? What's Doc Rivers' son?
Austin Rivers.
Austin Rivers. I think he made mention
the opposite.
Saying, hey, look, we could actually utilize and benefit from us playing and use the platform and proceeds and funds to be able to continue to fund the movement. It's one thing to have noise and have voices and protests. It's another thing to have some dollars behind it, because to your point, like, how do we continue to drive this thing and keep the needle moving and continue to make actual change? Well, at some point, man, it's going to take some funds. It's going to take some dollars. It's going to take, you know, some people coming to the table with some plans to build up the community. And so this is an opportunity, I think, to do so. Now, just as you were saying a couple of things, two things came to mind. Number one, if there was an opportunity for the players in the union to come together and say, look, we'll play, but under these circumstances. And the circumstances kind of similar with Malcolm Jenkins and what those guys did a few years ago, saying, hey, look, we want a pot of money set aside for this particular situation. They could come together and say, look, we'll play, all right, but we want X percent of proceeds off of this playoff situation to go here. And they direct that, right? Secondarily, what could happen is if they do take this to stands and say, look, man, we're not going to play, I think, you know, some of the prominent players, guys that's making $100 million, they put a pool of funds together and say, you know what, we're going to stand together, but we're going to help, some of our guys in the league that we know that this is going to hurt them.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
That's true.
I think the same way in the NFL, put your money where your mouth is, right?
Yep.
And I think that could help offset, and that could now be a powerful statement. Look, if most of the league is made up of African Americans in this black community, we're going to put our dollars together. We're going to support those that may be hurt in the situation, but united, we're going to stand. So I kind of see both. Like, at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to a financial issue and a money issue. And so to me, those are two options. If you want to stand, take a stand and don't play, all right, top players, we're going to need you to put some funds over here. And if we do play, the only way we're going to play is if collectively we come together and we control where all these dollars are going. Networks, okay, TNT, you know what I'm saying? You're going to write a check here. Okay, Fox, whatever, you're going to write a check here. Okay, owners, we'll play, but you're going to write a check here. And they can make those demands at this point in time. Because guess what the owners are going to say? No.
Thank you.
Are you
whatever
kidding
y'all
me?
want. Whatever
you know
y'all
what I'm
want.
Are you kidding me?
Because that and that's the piece where you got to be able to leverage your platform. Because if they say no, then the players just turn around and say, we wanted to play, but we told the owners, y'all billionaires, we would like y'all to, send certain amount of funds to this particular group. And they said no. I mean, that's a PR nightmare for the owners. So no matter what, if the players decide to use their platform, which they should be straight. I get it from, like, to your point, from both perspectives. I feel like Steven Jackson obviously is a little bit closer because he knew George Floyd. But I'm with him though. Like, as soon as sports start back up, what you're gonna see is the trendy. Just like 4 years ago, who was taking a stand and who didn't? Who kneeled? Now you got everybody talking about I'm kneeling. Baker Mayfield, I'm kneeling for sure. J.J. Watt, like, I don't know if I'm kneeling, but it ain't about the flag. So whatever they want to do, I got their back. Aaron Rodgers, this ain't about the flag. And so you're going to have a lot of those demonstrations, but just like the demonstrations that happened 4 years ago, what does that mean? Right? If you kneel during the flag, is it really making a statement at this point? Especially now when everybody's expecting you to do it. Everybody's with you now. So it's like, and nobody's really going to judge you or criticize you. Not openly anyway, because you'll get destroyed like Drew Brees did. And so you're not going to really say anything. So it's going to be a lot of people doing their part from that standpoint. But dollars is what it's going to take. What's the plan? And who's coming up with the plan? And so I feel Steven Jackson, though, like the momentum is going to shift to the NBA championship. And to your point, is an asterisk next to it. Who won? Is this LeBron's 4th or 5th title? Is he the greatest of all time? That's the conversation versus.
So what's your final call? You playing or not?
I'm not playing. I ain't playing.
You ain't playing?
I'm not playing, man. I ain't playing.
I don't think I'm playing either. NBA. NBA, I don't think I'm playing. I mean, the upside, like, you gonna make a couple dollars, but the upside is, okay, even if we go out and win it, I'm putting myself at risk.
Yeah.
Like you said, if we don't have a plan together to support this cause over here, we taking away from it. All right. And then even if we go and win it all, it probably don't even matter. Like, everybody gonna talk bad about it anyway. Oh, you didn't really win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
The team you played didn't even have their players. They didn't even
have their players.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude decided not to play or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna sit it on out, man.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm probably sit it on out.
So the momentum right now, speaking of momentum, we've got a lot of peaceful protests. However, there was a gentleman that it's been deemed a homicide in Atlanta.
Saw that.
That was killed by the police. And somebody went and set the Wendy's on fire in the parking lot that he was shot in. I don't know why they burnt down Wendy's, but that just happened.
Right. So,
and since then, there's been multiple videos of things similar, and that's what you're gonna get now. Everything that somebody does is gonna be on film and on video now. I believe the Atlanta police chief, she resigned. And so the issue hasn't stopped. Atlanta was kind of like going crazy, right? As they should be. So now, like, I know where we are in Columbus, things have kind of, there's still some nice little there was about 10,000 women that gathered over the weekend.
Powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. However, it's Monday and back to work, getting back to normal. So how does the momentum, and what does momentum mean? How does that how does that keep going, man? Like, cause are people getting fatigued? Like, are you gonna get fatigued? Like, you can only protest. You got, man, so much energy can do it. So now all that emotion, like, it's awesome. Now it's starting to kind of, and so what's the next? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the next?
I mean, again, that's why I come back to say it's going to take a collaborative, strategic effort. You know, for the masses to continue on, no. Right? I mean, people got to go back to work, make those decisions. They're going to get tired.
Right.
But it's going to take a select few. And, you know, that's to be determined. Select few could be 10, it could be 1,000. I don't know. Right? But it's going to take a select few folks.
Need 1,000 folks.
Right? That are willing to kind of carry the torch. But at the end of the day, it's going to come back to their funding to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, do we have the right resources behind us to continue to drive the machine, continue to put forth this information, continue to educate people, continue to be out in front, continue to put these politicians and governments and organizations and departments and divisions on blast? Like, it's going to take a concentrated collective effort, and there's going to have to be a select few that are willing to drive that vehicle. But you won't have to continue to put gas in it. You won't have to continue to get the oil change. You won't have to continue to maintenance it, and that's where I believe some true dollars are gonna be needed.
We have a calendar that we like to use, the Win the Day calendar, and so I'm getting to the point now where I'm writing down 4 or 5 things down. I'm feeling good about it now.
There you go. Nice.
So ideally, you're supposed to write down 2 things a day that you have to get done that day to win the day.
Yeah.
And you get them done, great, you win the day. You win or you lose. Now, I was having a conversation with somebody, they're like, you know, what can I do?
Right.
And so I'm like, take this calendar, and I'm like, for the next 30 days, make sure you write down something that you can do that actually continues the momentum personally for you. Is it a text? Is it a social media post, a t-shirt that you wear, a blog post, a video post, reposting something that somebody else put, reading a book, listening to a podcast that's educating you, whatever that is, but every day for 30 days being a part of the solution. Like take 30 days and just build a habit of talking about social injustice in your own way. And they're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And hopefully they are doing it. But I think that's how you can individually carry the momentum, like making it a habit. You know what I mean? Because now some of the stuff that I put on, what I'm finding, the last 30 days that I put on the calendar early, I did it so many days in a row, maybe 2 weeks in a row. Like now I don't have to put it on my calendar no more because it's already a part of what I'm doing now. So now I don't have to put it on. It's something I need to do because I'm gonna do it anyway. You know what I mean? Because now it's just a part of my routine that I'm just gonna do it. So now I could put something else on the calendar that I need to get into the rhythm of doing. So I think that's a good way to personally, every single day, do something to push that message and that vision. And so obviously we have our Silence is Not an Option tees at driventees.org that you can get. Get a black one and a white one. You could, wear it 2 days out the week. But I think that's a good way to carry momentum, man.
I agree too. I actually was just got a chance to be a guest spot on a show podcast, and I kind of said the same thing. I didn't take it the whole 30 days, but if you feel like that's a daunting task, just write it down. Like write whatever it is that you thinking about what I need to do or what can I do. First off, ask somebody, ask questions. We talk a lot about that. Like go ahead and ask somebody, right? If you are white or not of the African American or black community, right, and you're trying to figure it out, like go ask the question. Like just ask, hey man, what is it that I can do? And then, but once you start getting, having these ideas and conversations and started getting some things, write it down. Yeah. If it's a goal, hey, you know what? I want to go in and do a blog or start, like, write it down, be specific about it, and put some date that you can go back and measure it. To your point, check it off. If you can do that every day, great. Yeah. If you can't do it every day, you know what I mean, and you just need something that, you only can think of 2 to 3 things, just write it down. Because if it lives only in your mind,
right.
it's gonna get lost.
That's
it's gonna
good,
get lost.
Man.
But I tell you, let me ask you this: when is the last time?
These knees be hurting, man.
When is the last time you told yourself, "I love you"?
I told myself I was amazing today.
That ain't what I asked you.
Amazing is a part of love.
When's the last time you said, "I love you"?
Honestly, probably about a week ago.
Week ago?
Yeah.
That's good, man.
About a week ago, to be honest with you. Because there's a couple things that feel like when I wake up in the morning, I usually like, I do a reflection thing.
Okay.
So as soon as my feet hit the ground, first thing out of my mouth is thank you, Lord.
Right.
And then it's I love you.
Dope.
And then today was thank you, Lord, you're amazing. But I do a reflection thing. So I said it to him and said it to myself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I think last week I was like, thank you, Lord, 1, 2. And then I love you. Then I say to myself, like, I love you too.
Dope.
You know what I mean? That's kind of my thing. Cause I'm like, man, I woke up, bro. I get to, you know what I mean? Like, that's dope. Like, I really think that's so dope that I'm like, that's the first thing that I do.
That is dope. Now, for me, I usually, thank my Lord and Savior. Thank you, you know what I mean? Waking me up, get me going, get me to the gym. Good morning. But I honestly, man, we talk a lot about this reflection.
Yeah.
I don't know when last time I said those words. Yeah. I love you. Yeah. Talking to myself. And so my birthday just passed a few days ago. And just in my reflection,
man, happy belated birthday, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm getting old, man. Getting old, baby.
No, you ain't, because I ain't getting old.
Yeah, you are. We're getting old together, man. But during my reflection on my birthday, man, I said that I love you. You know what I mean? I love you.
Did you look like that to yourself?
Yeah, I love you. I love you. And when I got deep with it, I can, just.
You started crying?
I did.
Yeah.
Actually,
I knew it was coming.
And I don't, my wife, I don't think she ever seen me cry. But, you know what I'm saying? Definitely, like it brought a little tearjerker because, with everything that's happening, black man, you know what I mean? Just like, yo, if nobody else loves you, they don't tell you, like, we gotta love ourselves. As people, as human beings. I don't care what color you are. You gotta love yourself, man. And when we talk about everything that's going on, and you the king with this, man. You know what I mean? When you talk about forgiveness, you got to talk about love, and you got to start with yourself. You know what I mean? These people out here that aren't willing to change, you got to question, man, do they truly love themselves? Do they, you know what I mean?
Probably
like,
not. No, they don't.
Or they just out here doing things for others. Like, yo, I'm just trying to get, approval, or I'm trying to, please others. Like, I'm just looking for some level of recognition. But am I doing it for myself? Because, man, if you truly love yourself, you know what I mean? Like, for real, like, truly love yourself through all the flaws, mistakes, everything. Yo, I love myself. I just find it hard for you to go against, equality and seeing people just as human beings and their, you know what I mean, and just their truest form. If you love yourself, because if you love yourself, you want to be represented, and you want people to welcome you, with all your mistakes. And so, how can you not do the same for other people, no matter what they look like? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so for me, man, I truly believe, one thing that we got to do as individuals, as people, when you talk about how do we carry this momentum, it's a reflection piece, man. And if you haven't done this, I encourage you, I challenge you, put this on your 30-day calendar. I love you. You know what I mean? Talk to you. I love you. I love you. And get deep with that. You know what I mean? Just repeat that for a number of times, a few seconds. Just let that soak in, man. I love you, man. And if people do that, I feel like that'll continue automatically, just the momentum. You know what I mean? Because when you start to love yourself, then automatically you gotta love the person next to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only, and you mentioned this too, man. That's the only thing that's really going to make you change is the level of forgiveness, man, and this level of love and true love. So that's kind of my aha from this birthday year. Well, I ain't get a chance to do a lot.
Well, I was about to say, that's obviously why we ain't spend no time together on your birthday.
Because I was just loving myself,
like crying and carrying on. Like that's why you ain't answered the phone when I called you. You just text back,
crying and carrying on.
No, that's real, man. I think.
I
mean, you said it differently, but you know, the word says, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." It's impossible to love the man next to you if you don't love yourself. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that I can project is hate. The only thing that I can project is evil if I can't look myself in the mirror. And it's going to be impossible for me to fight and stand for equality if I can't even look myself in the mirror. You know what I mean? And a lot of it is people, and this is where empathy comes in, where understanding that the whole thing is tragic. And the more research I do and the more I dig deep, I'm looking and I'm like, the example that's often always used is if a black kid and a white kid are playing together on the playground or the basketball court at 5 or 6 years old, they having a good time. They ain't talking about color. They ain't, you know what I mean? They just enjoying themselves as humans. And then those same two people, when they grow up, they go through two totally different experiences. And this person on the left may be one of the biggest races and the person on the right is struggling or whatever it may be, the black person, white person. And it's like at some point in time, somebody sabotaged and put a seed inside that child somewhere, somehow along the way, whether it's their environment, their parents, grandparents, that racist thing, and against being equal and seeing black people as equal to you got put inside an innocent kid. And they grew up. And a lot of times people get to this level and they don't even know how they got there. They just know that this is all I know. This is what I do. So in learning on both sides, like what a tragedy that somebody who wasn't somehow got shifted into that superiority role as well. And now they're a part of the problem and they don't even know how they became part of the problem. And they hate the fact that they can't figure it out. They just know that I don't like them and I don't like myself. And so I believe that racism eats you up from the inside out to where you can't love yourself. And then you have to forgive yourself. The hardest person, we talked about this on our training last week, the hardest person to forgive is not the other person, it's always yourself. Mm-hmm. And could you imagine being a 45-year-old white male, white female, and knowing that you made racist jokes or was a part of the problem for the last 40 years, and now you got to look yourself in the mirror? You got to forgive yourself immediately, right? Because now you looking yourself in the mirror, you are looking yourself in the mirror, and you definitely not saying I love you for all the stuff that you did. So you got to go through that internally, you know what I'm saying? And you got to figure out like, I need to figure out a way to forgive myself so I can love myself, so I can become a part of the solution. And what I'm finding is the majority of this is all internal. And that's all we've been talking about. It's all on the inside, where you can't expect somebody on the outside to fix you because they can't fix it. Like you got to get inside yourself and figure out, how am I going to navigate through this? And if I don't love myself, you ain't gonna get it done. So man, that's so good, man. But you're not gonna love your neighbor if you don't love yourself. That's powerful, man.
Man, that's good.
Happy birthday. That's good.
Appreciate it, man. You know.
What you 30, 32?
Come on, man. Don't tell all the business.
I mean, I know how old I am.
Don't tell all the business, man. But somebody said I was 27, so I said, I'm going with it. Let's ride.
That's just a lie.
Huh?
Why would you ride with that? You don't want to be 27 no more.
Because I love myself, man. Hey, man. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. Be sure that you check us out, alwaysreadyonline.com. Follow us on all social platforms, the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Click on the subscribe button below. We need you. We need you, man. We need you.
Go to driventees.org and stop playing. Stop playing. All right.
Love yourself.
Love yourself on driventees.org. Put that on a shirt. Silence not an option. Love yourself.
Let's do it.
Support the cause.